Halló og komið þið sæl. Hello and greetings to you. So I wanted to share something that I shared with my email list a couple of days ago, and I wanted to share it again on this channel, the Speak Viking channel. So the name of this was How much time would you give? How much time would you give? And my daughter is 2.5 years old, and she is still very much in that phase of trying to figure out how to talk and how to put sentences together. And she speaks Icelandic and English. I speak Icelandic to her, and her mother speaks English to her. So my daughter's learning Icelandic and English at the same time. And that can't be easy. That's a lot for a brain, a young brain, to figure out. Hún að læra íslensku og ensku. So she frequently doubles up on words. She'll say words twice in a row when really she only needs them once. And she'll say things in the wrong order, and she will use the wrong declinations all the time. And that's what kids do, right? They're tiny little cute works in progress, and you and I, adults, don't fault them for their imperfections in learning. We give them a lot of patience, and we sympathize with their situation. Við sýnum þeim þolinmæði og berum umhyggju fyrir aðstæðum þeirra. Það ekki? Which means, is it not, directly translated, and is the equivalent to, am I right? Það ekki? Am I right? And so if we're being decent, upstanding citizens, you and I, then we would give a young baby, a toddler, patience, sympathy, and a lot of leeway as far as learning is concerned, learning a new language. We know that it's a process, it takes time, and it's okay not to be perfect. Það ekki? So, my question to you is the following, and this is sort of a mental exercise. How much time would you give? How much time would you give a 2.5-year-old to learn a new language? Learn it to the point where they can speak it correctly. How much time would you give a 6-year-old until they learned a brand new language correctly? Now, how about a 26-year-old person? How much time would you give them to learn a language they've never spoken before? What about a 48-year-old person? How much time would you give them? A 69-year-old person? A 103-year-old person? How much time would you give them to learn a language that their brain has never encountered before. How much time would you give them until they could speak that language correctly? And I am just inviting you to take on this thought exercise with no predetermined outcome in mind. I don't think you have to feel a specific way about it. And maybe you'll say to yourself, I wouldn't give a 26-year-old that much time to learn a brand new language. I mean, what are they doing anyway? Don't they have plenty of time? Their brains are fresh. They can learn a new language in no time. Unless they're stupid. And the 48-year-old, I'll give them 6 months, 9 months until they can learn that language correctly. And if they haven't mastered it by then, if they can't speak it correctly, then I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to listen to them complain about it. They're just being lazy, or maybe they're just stupid. Now, what about the 2.5-year-old who's learning a new language for the first time? Can't that incompetent, lousy, helvitis 2.5-year-old doofus put together a simple sentence with the right declensions? Idiot! What an idiot. Most of us would probably not say something like that out loud or in our heads about a 2.5-year-old, or anyone for that matter, who is trying to attempt something very difficult, which is what learning a new language is. Ekki. But we might say things like this to ourselves. So then the question is to you, how much time would you give yourself to learn a new language? Now that you've thought about the abstract 2.5-year-old, 6-year-old, 26-year-old, 48-year-old, 69-year-old, 103-year-old, if you would be patient with them, then how patient would you be with yourself? How much time would you give yourself at 2.5 years old? You at 2.5 years old, learning a new language. What about the 6-year-old version of you? The 12-year-old version of you? Maybe the whatever number it is, old, young, years, you person at this moment needs time and patience and sympathy. Yeah. Það ekki? Það ekki? Anyway, that's just my sort of thought experiment I wanted to share. Hopefully it can reframe something for you if you've been beating yourself up, and would like to maybe not do that as much. So I hope that helps. I hope it made sense. I hope it wasn't too rambling, and it's not too focused on Icelandic specifically video, but it might be beneficial to you learning Icelandic or a language or just being nice to yourself. Allt í lagi. Það allt og sumt. Takk fyrir að horfa. Remember to crush the subscribe button like the skulls of your enemies. And thank you for taking the time to watch today. Give it a thumbs up if you can. Takk fyrir og bless bless.